long way to go yet.
Georgia, yeah.
You sure you want to hear more?
Here we go then.
Yep.
They are under orders for the warm-up lap now. Checkered flag being waved because there are some slack starters. As soon as you get a motorcycle that either stalls, stops, or is a bit slow getting away from the grid, the marshals will wave their yellow flag to indicate there is a bike that's in the way. The last thing you need to do, you can be doing 100 miles an hour from the back row of the grid by the time you reach the front row of the grid. So if someone's stopped on the front row, you're about to be rammed at something that's moving at a fairly rapid rate of knots.
Yeah, so
that you don't want.
There is some overcast, as we've said, just reducing things very, very slightly. Of course, the only other problem is it makes it more humid, doesn't it, once the cloud comes over?
Well, you've got to wonder about thunderstorms, I suppose.
Yeah.
Once the clouds blow in, I don't suppose we're going to get any as far as this race is concerned, but the pre-Moto 3 race that comes up live after this here on Motors TV, you may find that it's getting a little bit tricky. We'll wait and see. We don't have the privilege of the weather forecasting screen that we have in MotoGP. It tells us what's blowing in from afar. We rely on weather apps everywhere, but it is very overcast, isn't it now? It's a really hazy in the background if you look into the background.
So everyone just pootling around. I mean, a couple of them having a mad dash through the corners, but the rest of them just pootling around.
I think again with the Supersport class, you're trying not to have too much heat in all. You need the air to clear through your radiator to keep the motorcycle as cool as you can, because it does make a difference, just a minor difference to horsepower. If the motor is overheated by the time you get back round to the grid, of course they're going to be stood at the grid for some time waiting for the slackers at the back of the grid to come and join in, and they are fairly well spread out. Obviously in domestic CIV championship racing they don't quite have the usual rules regarding how fast they've got to get round to the grid. Normally in rider briefing they'll be told that get round to the grid as quick as you can, but clearly this lot are taking their time about that. The number 9 machine there is Mantovani, I should say, finished third yesterday. Andrea Mantovani on the Yamaha. So yesterday, just to remind you, top 3, we saw them on the podium. Karakasulu was on top slot with Gugavaz in second place and Mantovani in third. They were your front 3 runners yesterday. Now first Supersport race of the weekend. Who's going to do the business here? They are very, very casual getting round to the line, I must say. It's something you don't see so much of nowadays. When everybody's lined up and the pace car is right there trying to get them moved on. So with a slightly more overcast Imola racetrack now, the Supersports boys eventually roll to the line. On pole.
Yeah, get this race started today, please, if you can.
Massimo Roccoli, championship leader. 2 wins this year.
Just in the back of his mind, if he had a problem yesterday, is he thinking, hope everything's going to be right again? There is that MV Augusta.
In fact, 3 wins this year, sorry, for Roccoli. Yeah, you could have definitely forgiven me for that, having looked down the order. Experience, look at the resplendent MV Augusta colours. I just love the way the MV Augusta looks.
You know what he's thinking? He looks over his shoulder. Come on, guys, just get there. You know.
Yeah, been here for a week. Yeah. So waiting for the green flag at the back of the grid as they come to the line then, and we wait for the green flag. Here it is then. They come under starters' orders. When the lights come on, you'll hear the revs rise, and then when they go out, who's going to make the whole shot for the Supersport race? The second Supersport race here at Imola this weekend. Great start from the middle of the grid there. Brilliant start from Karakasulo. Great start from him, and slightly slack was Roccoli.
Yeah, just what he did yesterday, wasn't it? Mantovani, Roccoli and Fernandez, second, third and fourth now. So
Roccoli slides straight into that second place, but I think immediately gets beaten up as he gets to the second part of Tamburello. Oh, yes, he does.
It's the danger moment. They all get through, though.
Pretty much. Wow. But Roccoli definitely got beaten up in the middle of there, you know, Mark.
Yep. Yeah, I think
it was the number 9 of Mantovani who usurped the position.
Pushed down to third. Fernandez climbing all over him, and Stefano Cruciani, man who finished fourth yesterday.
Roccoli protecting his inside line there at the bottom gear Tosa corner as they now go up the hill towards Piratella.
So Roccoli on a mission today. He's got to get maximum points today because he's got to protect that lead. It's down to just where are we? Just 18 points at the moment.
He looks a bit protective over some of the lines he's taken on this opening lap, you know. Rockley, I'm talking about the pole man. He's in third place at the minute, but he just looked a little bit protective at Piratella as well, not allowing anybody to really get underneath him. He obviously wants to get this lap calmly under his belt without making that mistake in these early laps. Out front, Caricasulo, the man who won yesterday, from Andrea Mantovani. Rockley still holding third place. Look at that 40-bike grid, line astern. Well, apart from some of them.
Apart from three abreast, yeah.
Three abreast, line astern, three abreast. Down into Rivazza for the first time.
Yeah, and already the first four pulling away. 2.2 second gap from first back to fourth place.
Just underlining the qualifying as well. Qualifying done in much cooler conditions track-wise than what they are at the moment. As we come down to the bottom gear. Variante Bassa to start lap number 2 of 13 laps.
This is where it all went wrong yesterday, of course, and brought out the red flag, but all safely through this time.
You said that before they were through, you know, Mark.
Commentator's curse.
Caricasulo out front, Mantovani in second place, Rockley still third, Fernandez in fourth place. So Fernandez having a good day so far.
Yep, the Spaniard, the only non-Italian riding in this race.
Fernandez a non-finisher, of course, yesterday. The 38 bike of Fernandez.
Yeah, went out big time, didn't he, at Agua Minerale.
Slid out of the bike this time, though. Tell you what, they're all pretty much holding station. Well, a little bit of action going on there up into Tosa, of course, a nice easy passing place.
Yeah, that was Mercandelli and Gurgova swapping positions.
And Mercandelli had a great ride yesterday, considering the misdemeanor that he committed earlier on in the race, but recovered brilliantly up into 5th place.
And Santoro and Vitali have now changed 6th and 7th places, so it's going on
everywhere.
Yes. We're just getting into some sort of pecking order.
We're up to Acqua Minerale, down into the second gear, second part of Acqua Minerale, and then up the hill towards Variante Alta. Top of the hill, bottom gear, banging it down through the gearbox.
Caricasulo looks in charge at the moment, doesn't he? Very, very solid there up front on the...
But Mantovani looks slightly threatening for me. The 9 bike in second place is, like every racetrack nowadays, you'll see some riders and some bike setups work better at parts of the track than others, and vice versa. It all closes up, though, come the line. The bit that counts is when you go across that stripe.
Yep, there's only 1 second then covering the top 4 at the moment, and that can change at any time.
Only on lap 2 of 13, coming to start lap 3 of 13 now. A lot of curb on the inside being taken there. And as you can see, parts of the markers being ripped out and laid on the track. Just to try and stop them from taking massive amounts of curb. I don't imagine that it's going to stop them too much. More likely the fact that they'll be put back behind a rider if the race direction considers them to have taken an unfair advantage through taking too much curb.
Fastest lap to Fernandez at the moment, a 1:54, and that compares to the best of also 1:54 yesterday.
Oh, there we go, pass. Yep. So straight away the 9. I said Mantovani was looking good, and he is. He's just made his way past Caricasulo. And Mantovani really looks like he's got some pace today. Mantovani 3rd yesterday, but what, some 6 seconds adrift, 4 seconds adrift of 5 seconds, sorry, adrift of the race leader yesterday. But this move down into Tamburello, neat and tidy.
Yeah, it was a beautiful move.
Meanwhile, over the hill and down to Acqua Minerale. Back through the gearbox. Then driving back up the hill. Even looks slippery at Acqua Minerale to me. That track so well used, so well worn. Mantovani out front on bike number 9. Caricasulo still in second place. Rockley holding a 3rd place brief. Oh, good power out of Alta. So Caricasulo really got the drive out of Alta and made the move straight away as off of that 5th gear down the hill, 30 odd miles an hour into that corner on the brakes.
So Mantovani first to 3rd place in just 3 corners.
Yes, Rockley I think we're going to have to watch. Yeah. Rockley then has got some heat in the tyres, got his rhythm going. It's all about rhythm. And the MV make a comeback, of course.
Still only 1 second covering the top 4. It's that tight.
But I have to say, Caricasulo, now he's made that move, just seems to have eked out a bit of an advantage over the MV in second place right now.
And these two behind, this is Cruciani and Santoro, now starting to close on Fernandez for fourth place.
This is Villeneuve.
Yep.
Another one of the chicanes. That camera looks a long way back down towards Tamburello. Where's this Tosa now? Of course, there wasn't any chicanes on the way to Tosa from the start and finish line. Once upon a time.
Well, the circuit has, what, no less than 4.
Yeah. Well, they're not bad chicanes, I've got to say, but it certainly got your attention when there was nothing here once back in the day. This was a great move by Roccoli. Roccoli just sliding into second place there.
I think Mantovani was still wondering how Caricasulo passed him, and then next thing you knew, whoops,
Roccoli's through.
Yes.
So we're on lap 4 of 13, and in charge is Federico Caricasulo. And they head out to Variante Alta into the braking area now. Front end dips down. This is not done and dusted by any means. We've got a long way to go in this race yet. Right out on the edge of the curbs there, using all of the track and a bit more that they shouldn't. This part of the course putting such a lot of faith in the front end to grip through that right-hander and into the braking area of Rivazza here. And as you can see, the Patar machine back in third place. Some work to do for him, for sure. So they're about to start lap 5 of 13. Lap 5 then of 13 as we start. It's Caricasulo out front, but it's Roccoli and Fernandez with Mantovani in hot pursuit.
Yeah, Mantovani going backwards now, first to fourth in the space of 2 laps. Cruciani now starting to catch him, and Santoro and Vitali following through as well as they fight over fourth place.
Here's Fernandez dropping through on the inside. Oh, he made him flinch, didn't he? Fernandez gave Mantovani a bit of a shock then, a number 9 bike having to pick it up in the braking area, but the other Patar sponsored machine, Patar chip sponsored machine, has come through to third place now and looks like a bit of a challenger, the Spaniard does, doesn't he, Fernandez?
He's flying today, isn't he? He's already had fastest lap of the race, 54.18, and he's the only one consistently running in those 54s at the moment. Everyone else 55s.
Went out yesterday with some 5 laps to go. Oh, that's a bit tricky. Where was that at? Was that at Tosa? Yeah, I think it was.
Yep, going into Tosa.
That, on the deck.
That is Luca Vitali, who's just gone down, our man who was fighting for 6th place.
I'm going to be happy with that. Aqua Minerale now. Seems to have become a 3-horse race at the front, but it's early days in this 13-lapper just yet. Times are good. Grip's not. Very, very slippery out there. Track temperature very, very high. The highest I've known any track this year at any race I've been to.
Yep, that sun's back out now, strong as it was before. Passing cloud is gone.
Ooh! Just about managed to pull that one back down into the braking area.
What's the word, squirrely?
Well, it just looked like he had a little bit of hop, skip and a jump as he jammed the brakes on.
This is Vitali going off at Tosa. Yep. Crashes out of the 4th place battle.
Watch out for Roccoli. He was the man that got a bit squirrely coming down into Rivazza last time around. Meanwhile, 2nd place for him. But he's got that Fernandez hot on his heels. Fernandez looks quick. The MV just looks like it's down a mile an hour or 2. That might be down the corner exit speed out of Bassa onto the front straight.
And these 3 starting to drop Mantovani now.
That's what it looked like earlier. So Mantovani, is he going to drop into the grip of Cruciani, I wonder, and Santoro? They're Mercandelli. Those 3 are really at it behind him. So the number 9 might get swallowed by 3 more bikes yet, the 318 and 93.
Roccoli's thinking about the move, isn't he, back on Caricasulo. And Fernandez is looking about making a move on Roccoli.
I'm just wondered about Roccoli at the moment, whether he has the horsepower. Let's have a look as we go up the hill. Horsepower is what you need when you've got a hill to climb. And Roccoli's MV doesn't look that slack, does it, up there in the end? And still the number 9 bike, Mantovani, having written him off slightly, is seemingly back on the back of this pack.
Suddenly
regained a bit of composure.
Put some space between himself and Cruciani.
Needs to. Otherwise you're in a proper battle. We're at half distance then, because we're halfway round lap 6. Variante Alta.
Again, the sun disappears. Coming and going is patches now, aren't there?
Yeah.
It's probably not enough to make much difference to the heat.
Certainly it's out bright down at Rivazza here, isn't it? So you can see,
yeah.
Again, Roccoli on the brakes on that MV down into Rivazza. He really is, this man, number 55, good on the brakes. And he'll need to be, because that's how most passing is done.
Yep.
So if you're up alongside somebody that's a bit good on the brakes, you better be ready for a battle into the last set of corners. Tricky this was in the Superbikes.
Well, Mr. Fernandez is certainly thinking about things, isn't he, at the moment? He keeps having a look this side, that side.
Over the line, starting lap 7 of 13, it's Caricasulo, Roccoli, Fernandez, that's your top 3. Mantovani on bike number 9 still in 4th place. Cruciani on bike 3 in 5th. 6th is Santoro on bike 18. 7th is Mercandelli. 8th is Gugavaz. And it's Sabatino in 9th place. And 10th is Dionisi.
Yeah, we've still got how many runners? We've lost 4 out of the 40 starters so far that we know about. 2 in the pits, 2 crashed.
Closing right up. Roccoli closing up really close through Villeneuve onto Tosa now.
In fact, the gap over the whole top 6 is closing up now. So
look at the amount of curb these guys are taking on the inside. Whoa, that's going to be a tricky one to hold on. Ride him, cowboy. So the 198
just does it. That's Mattia Cassani.
It is Cassani just about getting his MV Augusta under control.
Must be a horrible feeling, that.
Don't worry, you're not feeling anything, Mark. It's just hanging on. That's when you pat your bike on the side, because you didn't save that at all. It's your bike who saved it. These bikes tend to snap back into shape if you're lucky enough to be relaxed on the things. The geometry of the bikes will bring it back, but when you're that far out of control, it's only luck.
So Fernandez, having made that charge up for the field, seems to now be stuck, doesn't he, in 3rd place. Can't do much about it at the moment.
Well, Roccoli's basically just quick enough to keep him at bay in most places. Where Roccoli on the brakes here is so good down into Rivazza here.
Yeah, actually, you can actually see the gap widening between himself and Fernandez, just as you say, under braking.
But just about everywhere else, Fernandez, the Spaniard, closes up. We've heard a Spanish national anthem around here.
Yep.
Kind of get used to it in MotoGP. It's been all Italian this weekend so far.
Yep.
Will the Spaniard in 3rd place.
He'd be dreaming in Italian tonight.
Over the line to start lap 8 of the 13.
Fernandez has got him? No, not quite.
I think that camera angle just makes it look that way sometimes as well, doesn't it? But you're right. Fernandez is looking pretty much like he's got the pace on Roccoli. He's just got to find the place on Roccoli.
Right.
What we're going to see in our front end.
Oh dear,
both of them fell. That's so easy to do. The guy behind, yes, when one goes in front of you, you just squeeze that brake by instinct that tiny bit more, trail it too much into the corner and lose the front end as well. It's so easy to do. Done it myself.
That was Vincenzo Giorgiano and Alessandro Calgado going down together then. Tandem crash.
Won't be seeing them again.
Nope.
They'll be dusting themselves off now and getting the gravel out their bikes.
Not talking.
That's we just passed the incident. The green flag now being waved to say that incident is clear. Down in Acqua Minerale.
Again, Fernandez just dropping back a little bit more.
Roccoli, I think Roccoli is looking more like he's closed in on the leader, to be frank with you. I think Roccoli is suddenly looking a bit more racy, isn't he, on that MV? Look, he's right there with your race leader, Caricasulo. And it might be that Roccoli, if he's close enough, dropping down for Variante Alta where we are now, down the hill towards Rivazza. We know how good he is on the brakes at the bottom of here. Maybe he's set himself up for a bit of a pass. Not this lap, maybe. Or maybe. Or maybe. And he goes through. That's where he's been very good every time.
Beautiful.
I thought it was a bit too far back, but that just goes to show you the advantage that the MV rider has on the brakes down into Rivazza. But now they're all going to have the advantage of following him down there, and whether they can now deal with that kind of breaking point. But Roccoli, your poleman, hits the front then, the number 55 to start lap 9 of 13. And already they're alongside him and past him, so he made a bit of a mess of that second part of Variante Bassa, and he's gone back into 2nd place. It might be 3rd any minute if he doesn't carry the momentum. Down to Tamburello, into the braking area of the chicane, the first chicane. But it is Caricasulo who's gone back in the lead. Roccoli, slight mistake in the middle of the chicane that enters the front straight, and Caricasulo made him pay straight away.
And that's held.
Oh, what's that? It's a bang.
Yeah, something from Mantovani's bike.
Mantovani Did he pick up dust, or has that just gone pop? Let's wait and see. That's gone pop, and he knows it's gone pop. He'll move off the racing line if he's got any sense. There it goes again. That looks like, yeah, that's seized now as well.
Cruciani goes through then into 4th, Santoro into 5th.
I'll tell you what, that is so good to see. That he was very, very lucky that he felt that early on. There's nothing worse than something on your rear tyre. You don't feel it, and then when you pitch it into a corner and it fires you over the top. So the number 9 machine of Mantovani, Andrea Mantovani, his Yamaha has expired. Did he put anything down on the track? Tell you what, next time round, these guys won't know that, and the marshals will be looking from afar to see if they can see anything. So keep an eye out to see if we see any red and yellow flag out, because it could be critical the next time they come round if there's any slippery stuff down on the track. This is Variante Alta. We're coming to the end of lap 9. Let's take another look at this. This was the pass done here last time round as Roccoli went through to take the lead. That was on lap 8. We're coming to the end of lap 9 now. This is Bassa. Back be your race leaders. This is Variante Bassa at the end of lap 9. Too soon to start lap 10 of 13. Whoa, right out on the green stuff. So Roccoli, if you didn't think he was trying, that will give you some indication that he is. Right, and that's where he made a big mess last time round and lost the lead coming out of there. He just didn't have the drive onto this front straight. And I think Caricasulo really has put the hammer down.
This is where Mantovani's engine went. Just making
Can't see any flags though.
No, so obviously all okay. It was a puff of smoke there, wasn't it?
Well, it was either smoke or I wonder whether it was water at one point, you know. I wonder whether he'd lost a hose as he dropped down here into Villeneuve. You just saw, again, it's whether it was oil smoke or whether it was steam. I wasn't too sure. If it was steam, then that might have been why it seized up going here into Tosa, and why he went straight on at this point. Perhaps he got a bit hot and just took him out of the race. But either way, he was very, very lucky.
So Fernandez being dropped a little bit by them, not too much, but he's lost probably 0.2 of a second on that last lap.
These are the podium at the moment. It's just a question of whether Roccoli, the pole man, can do anything about it. The MV in the middle of the sandwich here.
Caricasulo's just done the fastest lap of anyone on the track at the moment. He's done a 54.8, not quite as good as Fernandez.
Look at that again. We're just taking a look at Mantovani's bike there, a number 9 machine. And we had a puff. And that's the finality of it all. Oh, he's not happy, is he? We've got a song and dance. He's kicking off massively in the sandpit. Doing a bit of a Louis Salom. Meanwhile, riding the... that's usually over the top, that sort. When you get a high side, there's usually no way back once that rear spring unloads.
These Supersports do seem to be kind to their riders, don't they? So, Superbike could have you off, wouldn't
it? It depends, again, how you got your suspension set and exactly how quickly you caught it. But once the suspension has been squidged, as you lose the bike, it sits down, and then depending on how much rebound damping you got dialed in on the rear end, it springs back out again and fires you over the top.
So Federico Caricasulo just giving us a masterclass again in why he was champion last year, but only just champion last year, but comes back here for a couple of races, wins the first one, and is handsomely now leading the second.
But it's Fernandez that's gone up into second place now. The Spaniard is in second place. He's done a great job. He's done Roccoli. Roccoli's gone back to third. Meanwhile, we look back down the order.
Mercandelli all over Cruciani. This is interesting as well.
Yeah, Cruciani on bike 3.
And Mercandelli went straight on there yesterday, didn't he? And
he'll be hoping not to do that again.
Yep.
Mind you, I wouldn't guarantee it. He took a lot of gravel for a long time, and he eventually rescued it to 5th place, which was brilliant considering it put him way back down to 12th with dirty tyres.
Hopefully we can see that pass on Roccoli again by Fernandez. We were looking at something else at the time.
I think it's Variante Bassa again. I think it was just that the MV or Roccoli, one or the other, or both even, might be just that little bit slack into that final set of corners.
It's the championship leader then currently in 3rd. Mercandelli, who's 3rd in the championship, he is down in 5th place, and Busalotti, who's 2nd in the series, is down in 10th. So this one is definitely going to go to Mugello.
This is the battle for 2nd place. We're looking at Variante Alta, because at the moment Caricasulo has cleared off. He's gone over the hill to Variante Alta already. Here he is.
Yes.
Oh, here comes Roccoli. Roccoli looking at the inside. Gets it neatly. Roccoli does a really, really good job on the brakes into there. That's what chicanes are for. Now then, does he get the power down early enough? Might be fast on the way in, but are you fast on the way out? Because that's what's going to count into the braking area at Rivazza next up. But we know Roccoli's good here on the brakes. It's going to take a brave man that gets it underneath him At the moment, Fernandez is not that man. But 4th and 5th, closing in. Cruciani and Mercandelli.
We've only got 2 more laps to do.
Yeah, but a mistake from these two could still see a podium for one of those two.
Yep.
And I wouldn't put it past a mistake in a Supersport race, would you? Lap 12 coming up, race leader going over the line. There it is then. So we have 2 laps to go. And 2 great battles on track. This one for 2nd place and the one behind them for 4th place. Leader goes through, Tamburello. This is your 2nd place man at the moment. Fernandez from Roccoli. Then you've got 4th and 5th. At the moment, it is Cruciani from Mercandelli.
Both Fernandez and Mercandelli are just having a look, aren't they? See
whether they got an opportunity. Well, I'd leave it to the last lap.
Yeah.
So no one's got a chance to snap back at you. That's the point to make.
Which is what we saw between Fernandez and Roccoli, of course, on the last lap.
Got to destabilise a rider and don't let him get his rhythm back.
Fastest lap then now to Caricasulo. Look at that, 54.3.
He's making sure, isn't he, out front?
Yeah.
He's got a 2.9 second lead and he's just put the fastest lap in. In fact, he's got over 3 second lead now at the last checkpoint.
Suddenly found he's got a really good bike under him. He's got
really good rhythm. Yeah, it's the rhythm on that motorbike that's doing it. He's just able to, you've got to keep going at a pace, otherwise you start losing concentration. If you start riding to the finish, you lose concentration. That's when mistakes creep in.
Mercandelli just unable to do anything about Cruciani ahead of him at the moment. Mercandelli, 21 years old. Cruciani, who is, we've lost him, 42.
Yeah. A young man by our standards, but not by Supersport standards, of course. Lap 12 of 13. The penultimate lap is coming to a close, and this will be into the final lap. Who's going to make a big difference here? Into the braking area of Rivazza. Still it's 3. Cruciani from Mercandelli. Mercandelli too far back to do anything with that. This is the battle for 4th place. And in front of them, as we look at it, looks like it's pretty well done out the front there, as the race leader then comes to start lap 13, his last lap. Over the line he goes. Race leader starts his final lap. That is Caricasulo. Then it's the battle for 2nd place. At the moment, it's Roccoli from Fernandez, but Fernandez looks to me like he's going to have a go around the outside. That'd be brave. Roccoli sits in the middle of the track, makes himself a wide old MV. Into Tamburello. Not going to be done anything through here. Once you're in a chicane, it's only really one line through there. Then we look back to this battle for 4th place. Still it is Cruciani from Mercandelli. Cruciani on bike 3, Mercandelli on 93. Rather watch the Roccoli battle, I feel, for the podium. There's the leader. He's already up at Tosa. Still Roccoli on the MV. Again, just got that slightly tighter line on the way in. Is that going to cost him on the way out and up the hill, of course? Up the hill they go to Piratella now, through the right-hand kink, and then it's the left-hander of Piratella. After that, here we are. Still Roccoli hanging on there, Mark. Final lap.
Yep.
Who's going to do what and where? Down to Acqua Minerale. Roccoli under a bit of pressure now from Augusto Fernandez, the Spaniard, in 3rd place, looking to build up to Alta Variante Alta, even if I get it around the right way. Here's your race leader, Caricasulo. Federico's got the job done. Roccoli's on the inside line. It doesn't look like Fernandez is going to find a place there. He's going to have to challenge Roccoli at Rivazza. Wouldn't fancy that myself.
Hasn't got the brakes, has he?
He's just not quite sharp enough for that.
No.
Still holding 4th place. Cruciani on bike 3 on Mercandelli. They are now in the last part of this 3-mile lap. This is Rivazza, the braking area down into Rivazza. Roccoli's got it covered. OK, one last block pass can be done, of course, at Variante Bassa, the last chicane on this course. It's back to bottom gear. Here's your race leader. He's got it covered, provided he don't make any kind of a mistake. But look at this, building up is Fernandez for a braking manoeuvre. Down into Bassa. He's going to get tangled if he's not careful, though. He can't quite make it through there. Roccoli's got it covered. Race winner, though, will be Caricasulo. It is going to be Massimo Roccoli that makes it by the line. Does he just about?
Yeah.
Just about. By how many hundredths of a second? 300ths of a second?
Yeah, and Cruciani keeps Mercandelli off, and Diego Guigovaz has yet to cross the line some way back. And there we are. There
the Pata Honda boys are happy.
Yeah, Caricasulo pulling off the double this weekend.
Who's in the dirt? Someone's down at Bassa and have gone into the dirt to the left-hander of Bassa. Haven't quite appeared for us to see. Look at this. He was making him go the long way round. Roccoli playing it quite clever. He'd left enough gap on the outside. Well, there's no one going to make a pass on the outside into there. It would have to be the most magnificent of manoeuvres.
But Fernandez had a go, didn't he?
He did, but by the line, he couldn't quite make it work. The Pata Honda boys are happy.
Yep. That's 2 out of 2, just on their comeback weekend. Show all the rest of them what they did last year, but they can still do it.
Oh, that's a bit of a shame. The 65 just drops it on the way in.
Yep.
And
won't be taking the checkered flag.
No, that was
that's Michael Canducci.
He didn't finish yesterday either, Michael Canducci, on a Leonardo Racing Team Yamaha. So very unfortunate for him. So easy to do when you're asking so much from that front tyre at the end of a race. Back down to bottom gear, it's all bouncing and shuddering underneath you, and your trail braking in. You've still got the front, by that I mean still got a load of front brake on, and as soon as you start releasing it starts to unload the front end. The suspension starts to come back at you. You run out of grip. There's very little you can do about saving it. Caricasulo then, once again, he does the double here at Imola. Last year's champ, looking pretty damn good at the moment, I've got to say, for this year. And Rockley, though, finishing second, gets 20 points. Caricasulo gets 25. So how close does that make it?
Well, Caricasulo's not in the running, of course. So,
of course, he's, that's right,
so
he's a wild card.
Rockley's on 131 now, against Busilotti's. Busilotti will get 96 today, so he's quite a long way back. And Mercandelli, he goes into second, in fact. Mercandelli finishing 5th today, so he will be on 100 points. So 30 points going to the final round, with just 50 points available for that weekend. So Rockley, you could say, has probably got it fairly well wrapped up. But again, in Supersports, as you've said already, you just cannot tell.
Yeah, one incident could bring all that crashing down. October the 11th, this all gets itself sorted out at Mugello, the wonderful Mugello. Final round of the CIV Supersport Championship will be at Mugello, as of course will the rest of the race card. So
if you're listening, organisers, Keith would love a ticket there. So
well, luckily I think my pass might get me in, which I'm fairly fortunate on that. It's a fantastic place. Ferrari test track, which I know, it's an enjoyable part of the world to be at, and Mugello, I look forward to that championship. But Jack Bernicle will be back in this chair at that point to take over from me, as I've only stood in for young Jack this weekend, enjoyed every minute of it, and we've still got the interesting pre-Moto 3 to go. There's the championship standings at the moment. Rockley on 131, Mercandelli on 102, just 2 points in front of Busilotti.
Good. That's so that is those three it's going to go down to now. But Caricasulo,
I don't know, Cruciani could still fiddle with that, 94 points. I mean, it's there's still a bit of work to be done, for those lower leaderboard positions come Mugello in October.
He's a pal of Jack's, so Jack will be shouting for Cruciani.
Jack probably knows his mum, his dad, his second cousin. And,
both his dogs' names. And, two of the dogs are called Kevin.
Actually, I've never known such a propensity for the first name of Kevin in Italy. It's obviously Schwantz has got a lot to answer for.
Yeah, we haven't got a single Giacomo racing this weekend, so I suppose it's a bit too soon, isn't it?
15 times.
Probably full of Minimoto. Minimotos are probably full of Giacomos.
You would think so. 15 times world champion, of course, Giacomo Agostini. Famous names on MV Augustas. I'm sure Rockley just now, but MV Augusta being a famous name for Giacomo Agostini. And, of course, he heads the CIV Hall of Fame as well, doesn't he, really, for race wins in CIV. Giacomo Agostini among many of them. There's some great names in that Championship Hall of Fame, CIV Hall of Fame. You've got Luca Cadalora, Eugenio Lazzarini. There it goes back to my day watching him on the Tiddlers. It was fantastic. Virginio Ferrari there, Marco Lucagnelli. Some great Pier Paolo Bianchi, if you want to go back to some of the smaller bikes again. It's a fantastic situation. The Hall of Fame in CIV is vast and with some fantastic names in it.
And again, look how cool Cruciano looks after doing that. You wouldn't think, for a man who has a diet of potato chips, that he could look so fit and cool.
Podium time then. Third place man Fernandez, pretty happy with that, I would suggest.
Yep.
Rockley, well, I think he would have happy with second place after what happened yesterday. Stylish glasses in Italy, I don't know. It's all a bit slightly strange, isn't it? And a man on top, of course, Caricasulo, taking the race win, top step on the podium for him, and a very happy man indeed. He raises the silverware above his head while we wait for the action again for the pre-Moto 3 race, which is coming up live here on Motors TV, and yesterday that gave us quite a lot of youngsters vying for position all the way around the racetrack, the 3 Mile Imola racetrack here.
Waiting for the podium to come up. Caps off, gentlemen. The circuit announcer doesn't seem to have much respect for their anthem, does he? I suppose he's heard it too often.
Talking all the way through it, but...
But it would have been nice to have the Spanish anthem today, wouldn't it? I think Fernando's...
Not for the Italians.
But he did a great job there, didn't he?
He did do a good job.
Really good ride.
Good ride in the 3rd place.
Yep.
He and his teammate enjoying top slot and 3rd.
And look at that, the 3 of them, obviously pretty firm friends off track. Oh, I'm just going to relax a bit, says Caricasulo.
Yeah, ready for the photographs at the end of the session. And next up comes the pre-Moto 3, of course. Looking forward to that. Our last race of the day here, but I think it's going to be a frantic one.
Perhaps saving the best for last in terms of racing. It's
certainly lots of youngsters out there that are still learning the track as much as anything else. They're learning their way, they're learning their skills at this level. That's it then for the Supersports here this week from Imola. We look forward to them next time. October the 11th is when you'll see them again here live on Motors TV.